So you're a vision impaired shooter, but you can't get to the shooting range as much as you wanted to do your training. What's the answer? Do some home training. In this video, I'm going to explain how that's possible. Hello, I'm Michael Wapples, the chairperson of the shooting committee within the International Blind Sports Association, or IBSA. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can do some home training with some of the internationally approved aiming devices. The particular device I'm going to use within this video is the VS Pro. However, there is also the Echo Aims, and that should work equally as well. The reason I'm demonstrating the VS Pro for this video is that the software has much more speech output for someone who has no sight at all and reliant on the speech output. The Echo Aim software does show you what you've done, but it is more limited in the speech output available. So for this video, I'm going to be doing dry fire training because here in my house I do not have the space and a safe enough environment to be able to actually do some live fire training. And personally, I would recommend that is what most of you should be doing, is dry fire training at home. Now, normally when you're doing your shooting, you may be shooting at 10 metres. However, the VS Pro and the Echo Aims both work at a distance much less than that. I think the distance I've got here within this room is about 4 metres, maybe going up to about 5. And they both seem to work perfectly fine at this distance. So you don't need to have the full 10 metres available to you. And I'd imagine in most homes, except for maybe the very smallest ones, you should be able to find about 5 metres of straight space where you can get something set up. The other thing is, you don't actually need to have a target, you just need your LED to be attached to a wall or something. So again, using my setup here as an example, I've used one of those self-adhesive picture hooks to stick the LED to the wall of this room. Okay, now to the next part I want to explain is how you get yourself into the correct position. If you have someone sighted with you at home, then this is going to be much easier, as you'll be able to use a similar setup process to you use at the shooting range, as the sighted person can assist you in getting your position. If you do not have someone sighted, it still is very possible, but you may need to take a few extra steps. So I would recommend in such a situation, find yourself some markers. As an example, in this room, I have a large carpet rug type thing, which doesn't cover the entire floor, but it's large enough it's not going to move around, and I found that it's about the length of my thumb from the edge of that carpet to where the front right leg of my prone table should go. So that gives me a position for where I need to set the table, and then I know where everything else goes around the table. If you don't have such a marker, you could consider maybe creating a template or something out of like the vinyl floor covering and sort of cutting out bits where maybe the table legs go, or if you're going to do standing where you have cutouts for your feet. And so you place that down, maybe it goes against a wall, and you then just know where your feet go by place them in the cutouts. Then once you've got your table and your seat into position, the next thing is this is for the prone of course, if you're doing standing, once you've got your feet in position, the rest should be fairly normal. But for the prone, once you've got the table in position, remember, use markers again on the table surface. So for me, I've got some tape markings on here which give me an indication where my elbows go on the table. Also, because it's now getting a little bit older, the surface of the table itself has got slightly worn, and also that gives me an indication. I will note that all these markers, you may not be allowed this many in competition, but we're talking about doing training, so you can use almost whatever you like, so long as it helps you get yourself set up. But you probably don't want to go so far that things just differ entirely. Like doing prone, you don't want to put it on a support vest just to make it easier, because you're not really training for what you want to actually do in the end. Okay, so with all that said, you should be able to now get yourself into position. And the position really is critical, because that is, if you don't get that correct, you're not going to be able to get the next part right when you start trying to find your LED. And I would say, when you start trying to find the LED, be prepared. It may take a little bit of time. Could be sitting there for a couple of minutes, waving the rifle around, looking like an idiot, just hunting for your LED. Bit of persistence. If you still don't find it after a couple of minutes, maybe put it down, come back, try again. Just don't lose heart. You'll get used to it, and over time, as you get used to setting yourself up, you should get familiar with where things go, and it should become easier over time. Okay, now I'll start demonstrating. I have actually already taken a few dry fire shots with the software, so that I can demonstrate some of its features without having to bore you with me just shooting over 10 shots. So I'll just get myself into prone position, and I will then explain a little bit about the software. The biggest software you would want to use for training is called Shooting Master, and you basically start it up on your computer, and then you may have to select the aiming device, or in my case, as it's the only serial port on that computer, it automatically found it and connected to the device for me. And it will then tell you when it's ready for you to start shooting. I've already got it running on the computer, as I said, so you won't hear that command from mine. Now, when you start to actually do your shooting, when you take a shot, it will actually tell you the score and the position the shot is in. So let me just demonstrate that. Now, I did say it may take some time to find your position. Just making sure I'm also on the correct zone size as well. And there you go, I said it doesn't always come. That's because I actually think I didn't get my left elbow quite in the right place. So, as I said, if you don't find it first time, don't be hard on yourself. It does happen. Okay, and you'll also notice that the VS does sound different to the echo aims. This one you get that low tone, and I move in, it gets higher, and then you'll hear it actually jump when it gets to the very middle, go to a constant tone.
Shoot 14. 9.6 on 11 o'clock.
So there you heard my computer say that it got a 9.6 at 11 o'clock. And I think my speaker's just turned off for some reason. Yeah, it did. So I'll see if I can turn that on while I'm in. Actually, no, I don't need to show you another shoot. So what I can do is, on the back of the Vias, there is 3 buttons at the very bottom below 2 rotary dials. The left one, as the software, the manual tells you, will actually change your zone size. And then the middle one, if I press it just for a short time, it will get the computer to speak information about the last shot, the series, and the total score.
Shoot 14. 9.6. Syria 190.4. Syria 239.8. Total score 130.2.
Okay, so that's told me all of my shots. And let's say that last one, because sometimes if it's not going to do it, but sometimes the sensor can be set wrong and it may pick up your loading or something like that and think it's a shot. So if you wanted to delete it, you can press, he refers to it as the F3 key, which is the right hand key, just a short press on it.
Delete last shoot.
And I think it's meant to actually tell you the shot it's just deleted, but I think it's a case of the software is doing its own thing. It's just going to try and show me up on camera. Now I'll put the rifle down, because also from the computer, if you didn't want all that information, which I just got when I pressed the middle of those 3 keys, if I just say wanted to know the last shot on the computer keyboard, I can press F2.
Shoot 13. 10.8.
Which is now, because remember I deleted shot 14. If I want the series, I press F3 on the computer keyboard.
Syria 190.4. Syria 230.2.
Okay, it tells you all the series. I thought actually it was going to just tell me the last series. And then F4 will tell me the total score.
Total score 120.6.
Okay, so I think that gives you quite a good demonstration of it. Oh, there was one other thing I didn't show you. That was using the rifle size target, but if you wanted, say, you're scoring for an air pistol target, you can long press that middle button on the back of the aiming device.
Shoot 13. 10.8. Syria 190.4. Syria 230.2. Total score 120.6. Pistol target.
Okay, so
Rifle target.
Okay, it's swapped back. You meant to press it for between 2 and 3 seconds. It confused me there with it speaking out the information about the shots. So I'll long press it for about 2 seconds.
Pistol target.
Okay, that time it didn't tell me. And that is one thing I will say about this software. You may find some problems with it. In fact, actually, earlier today I was
Rifle target.
on the on a call with someone who was actually having some trouble with the software coming up with an error message. I've seen error messages as well in it, so it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing, and it's a lot cheaper than having to go out and buy, say, a SCAT training device. Okay, so if you maybe don't want to use those buttons on the back of the aiming device, you could also press F12 on your computer keyboard, and that should change between air rifle and pistol target.
Pistol target.
And I'll press it again.
Rifle target.
There's a few other things. If you can see, you can press the F1 key, and that would actually show you where you're pointing.
Tracking on.
I think F5, I think it is, will show you the last.
Clear all.
Oh, that clears it all. I'm just trying to remember all of the keystrokes, but no, actually these are all accessible. You can, if you use your screen reader, if you use a screen reader, you'll be able to find them on screen. There is one for it to show you what the last shot trace was for about the last, I think it's about 5 seconds or something.
Clear display.
Maybe it's F7 or F8.
Show all. Show the last lines.
Yeah, it's about I think it was F8 got the show the last lines. So I hope this video has given you a bit of an insight in how you can do some home training. Probably particularly useful at the time of recording this video, as with coronavirus we're all being told to stay at home. A lot of shooting clubs are closed at the moment, and as most sports people know, it's really not good to have a break in your training. Well, sometimes it is good if you actually plan for it. A break can be a good thing, but if you weren't planning for it and you feel it's a key part in your training schedule that you need to keep going with it, then home training is actually a very useful tool. Also, even at times when you can get up to the shooting range, home training can help supplement the training that you do up at the club. So I think this is well worth you looking at and finding a way for yourself to do it independently. I hope this video has been useful in helping you get there, and good luck with your training. Keep yourself safe, keep watching the channel, subscribe, like the video, and goodbye from me. See you in a future one.